Hey guys, so we are working on a feather to develop our skills at creating texture. And what I started off doing is making the spine here. And you'll notice because I have artistic license, I don't have to make things exact. There's a little bend right there. I decided to make it more fluid and curved. But you'll notice I started off with a very light line. And then I went over and I made one side a little bit darker and a little thicker at this end. And it got thinner and thinner and thinner and lighter as it went to the tip, just like that one. And I left half of it soft, so it shows shadow, just like in there. You see the shadow. Now some of these guys have moved around since I started this drawing, but you will notice at the very inside right here where these little guys, I don't know the technical name for them, come along the spine here. You see how distinct they are? Very thin, deliberate lines. So I went along this side and I made little lines just like this deliberately along here. And you can tell as they get to the end, they're a little bit softer. So I just went through and I went along and I made little lines. It's really important that your charcoal pencil tip is sharpened, very sharp. And I went through and I made little lines like this, okay? And I went all the way down and they got softer as I went this way. Then what I'm going to do, and you'll notice, I'm going to give you two really important tips. One, never rest your hand on here. You will completely mess up your drawing. So always make sure your hand is on the table, resting, but never on here. It will smudge it completely up. Charcoal is very powdery, and so it won't take much to mess it up. The other tip is turn your paper when you need to. Your hand moves like this. So does it make sense for me to make this line from here? When I was making this curve, I turned it this way to make it, because I utilized how my body worked to my advantage. See how easy that is? And so I moved my paper around as I was working on it to what was easy for my wrist, right? So now I'm going to go through and I'm going to do this inside part. This inside part, if you can see, is a little bit more fluffy, right? If you look super close, each individual one has little ones that come off of it. I'm not going to really get into that type of detail here, but we're just going to fill in here a bit. Very light. But I'm not going all the way down here. I want more curve to this. And I don't want it exact. I don't want straight lines. Blend it in a little here to make it look seamless. And I kind of work in layers here. So I'm getting a good base layer. And then I'm going to go back over and start adding. You see the difference? So now I'm going to go over, I'm going to take a look at what we've got here. And we've got some big wispies. And these, like this feather is not a straight flat feather. It's not like this guy, right? It doesn't have defined edges. This one, it's like really, really fluffy. And so there's got to be a lot of movement to my lines, right? And there's some spots where the feathers are in funky directions. And we'll just throw some of those in. I don't want it to look like the feathers beginning midway, but there's more white in here, so I definitely want to get some of that in here.
It's where the light is hitting it, right?
And so you guys should be getting the idea. So along here is defined, and here is quite fluffy, and then out here shows quite a bit of movement. Whoops. I broke one of my own rules, which was going the wrong direction. As you can tell, I'm always going in this direction, right? I'm going out, out. I don't want to go this way, because when you put your pencil down, that's going to be your heaviest mark, and it gets lighter as you go out. If I start here and go in, my line will be heavy and then go light. And that's not what we're wanting, because these start heavier on the inside and go out. How are we doing? Is that starting to look like a good feather? And, you know, I can take my time if I want and try to add some more detail. But I think you guys are starting to get the picture. Work in layers and get those highlights in there. And down here, I feel like needs a little bit more. You're always, and if you need to, sharpen your pencil. This is about the only type of pencil sharpener that really works on these pencils because they're so fragile. They don't work in electronic pencil sharpeners. It'll destroy the pencil. And it doesn't matter if it goes off the page. It's totally fine. It kind of makes you feel how unruly this feather is, right? If I just lightly move it or blow on it, it changes so much. So this is where you have a lot of artistic freedom. You want to get the essence of it, right? The important parts, but then you kind of like, dude, I'm not going to get that particular one to look exactly the same. You just want to make sure to represent it well, right? So what do you think? Does it look like I'm almost done? Maybe just a little bit of touch up here and there. I'll probably mess with it a little bit more after I stop this video, just to make sure I've got it the way I want. But I think that's pretty good. And I hope this helps. I know it helps me when I get to watch videos of how somebody gets to do something. So, there you go.